What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Angry Jackalope, Raw Bricks. Oh, fuck. What the hell, right? Why do I look like shit? Why am I all, uh, blah, blah, blah? Well, I had, some, kidney stones, and I pulled a muscle in my back last week. Kind of sidelined me a little bit. If you watched, those Expanse, book reviews, there's a few parts in there you probably saw me wincing in pain and whatnot. That's when it was really kicking in. I filmed those two back to back and was just downstairs in my other studio just dying. It was rough. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I wanted to talk today about the world, about the crazy shit going on right now. And I don't know, this shit might end up getting me in hot water, maybe not. But I did a video when the riot issue, the genesis of all the riots, first occurred. I hadn't watched the video. I just did kind of my thoughts on it, and I watched the video. And as I watched that video, there's a lot of things that kind of jumped out at me as anomalistic and kind of odd. But I'm not going to get into conspiracies and shit like that. I am going to talk about the riots, though, and how a lot of it is a lot of it is allowing for crimes of opportunity to occur. I guess that's a polite way to put it. Pallets of bricks being left around, police vehicles being left unattended, a lot of good photo ops, put it that way, and a lot of the mainstream criminal news groups glorifying and contradicting themselves violence happening and then saying peaceful protests and things of that nature. So there's a lot of bullshit going on, guys. There's a lot of bullshit going on, and there's a lot of this, you know. You could say that, Tenchi. You could say that, and I think time will definitely prove that out. I think there's a lot of manipulation going on. And I said in that one video that America is racist, and I stand by that. America is a racist ass country, and it's encouraged. It's not. It's, it is a system of complete racism. But, we're all prisoners living in these invisible cells, and it's easier to keep us divided, keep the monkeys in the zoo divided, than to have us come together and actually see what's really going on. And what's really going on is not what a lot of people, even in the quote unquote truth movement, think it is. You guys have to understand, here's a couple of facts. This platform that I'm sitting on is a very good disinformation platform. It allows for anybody to create videos, not racism, bigotry. Yeah, I guess you could say that's probably a better word, bigotry. I think that is a better word, but the systematic racial divide, which is the genesis, is the underlying component of racism, that combined with ignorance is why I say we have a racist country. Because the bigotry and the racial divide is pronounced and very structured, as is the ignorance, the systematic dumbing down of society, which is the secondary component of any racist mentality. Ignorance mixed with bigotry, mixed with a racial agenda, is where I come from. The positioning of saying that America is a structurally racist country. Now, I don't think America is a maliciously focused racist country, but I do believe that the groups that are behind the systematic dumbing down and behind the bigotry and the racial agenda, I believe those are the evilest motherfuckers on the planet. And so that is maliciousness from a foundational point of view, the people that are creating this. And it starts in the education system. In the education system and the indoctrinations and, all of the things that are taught to our children in schools, paint those pictures, even inadvertently. I remember there was a time Miley was sitting at the dinner table with me, and she said, well, Dad, all black people are bad, right? And I said, what the fuck are you talking about? No, who the fuck told you that? And she said, well, at school, there's the way that they're treated, they must be bad. And she was really little, but she was making a honest child observation of how black people are treated and how they are portrayed and how they are showed in most forms of entertainment, et cetera, et cetera. And so I'd explained to her, I said, no, honey, white people aren't bad. Just like you can't say that all black people are good, and you can't say that all white people are bad and all white people are good. You have to take it as a case-by-case basis. But, purely judging somebody by the color of their skin and drawing an assumption on that is ignorant. It's stupid. It is a very, very, very bad thing. I said, now saying that, you'd also have to be a complete fucking idiot to take the opposite approach and see something that is depicted on a regular basis and say, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, then guess what? It's probably going to be a fucking duck. So, if you are shown image after image after image after image of, strong black men with dookie braids or dreadlocks or something of that nature, and you see them portrayed in a violent scenario over and over and over again, that's going to set kind of a negative connotation in your mind. But at the same time, if there are groups of people, even a minority group, and I don't mean minority as, dark people of color or anything else. I mean minority as a small sampling. A minority group that is running around and doing horrendous things, and you see it in your neighborhoods, then that's the example of it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, then it's probably a duck. I remember growing up Potrero Hill, and those motherfuckers who wanted to say, well, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Go look up Potrero Hill, motherfucker. Ghetto of San Francisco. And I used to work in Hunters Point. Look that shit up as well before you guys sit and say, what the fuck do you know? I know a lot also of observation. I remember some of the black kids that my brother was associated with from Hunters Point. They ordered a pizza and they killed the delivery dude just to take the pizza. So that's shit that was in the areas where I grew up. So All of you that are going to sit there and say, oh, Rob, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You can fucking suck a dick, because I do know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I remember in Hunter's Point, there was this filmmaker. He made a documentary about how the stuff that was being dumped in the naval areas down in Hunter's Point was affecting a more affluent area across the bay and causing an increase in breast cancer and everything else. And this kid, by accident, he was doing documentaries on, niggas in the hood that was like, woo woo nigga, doo doo doo, And I remember early on, I was trying to wake people up and have some of these kids aspire for more in their life, to think ahead. And time after time, I had heard from these same kids, nigga, I don't plan to make it past 18. I'm gonna do whatever I want. Woo woo, nigga, this is my shit, And I was like, okay, well, there you go. You're gonna be cannon fodder for rich motherfuckers to use you over and over and over again. Communists have an expression called the useful idiots, where you can use the quote unquote useful idiots to further agendas. So we find ourselves with the pandemic, and there was a lot of people that were holed up, sitting at home, trying to do what was right, basically being lied to. This whole pandemic shit is complete rubbish and bullshit. As these protests have showed, nobody's social distancing, nobody is practicing anything that just weeks ago would get people thrown in jail. But not now. Not now, because now there's a new agenda. There's a new narrative. There's a new objective that's being rolled out. And so the useful idiots, and I don't think they're idiots, that's just a term that they are being that's the term that the powers that be are using these protests. These protests are pawns. They're chess pieces. And the objective here is to roll out martial law. Now, it was interesting when the pandemic was in its infancy, when it was just starting to manifest itself here in America. I saw a lot of tank movements, a lot of personal assault vehicles, the SWAT vehicles, heavily armored Humvees, things of that nature, being rolled out to all the major cities. And I remember thinking to myself, what the fuck? All right? That's a lot of logistical movement for a pandemic. They at the time I was thinking, what are they gonna? That many people gonna fucking die that they gotta have all of this shit there to, burn bodies or whatever? Are they planning like a zombie apocalypse or some shit? Well, I mean, in a manner of speaking, it is exactly what it is, right? So you have systematic police brutality, which, interestingly enough, if you look at the data, a lot of those instances were on the decline, and a lot of that was attributed to successful protests that were done over and over and over again when they were trying to create civil unrest, when they were trying to get the people to do violent protests, but they weren't. Most people are pretty much decent. The people that want to go out and protest and make the world a better place and stuff, they have their heart's in the right place. Then you got these provocateurs that go out and they'll say, oh, it's Antifa or it's whatever. It doesn't matter whatever the name is. There are groups of people that are being paid to go out and wreck shit. And they create the photo ops that we see, these fires and everything else. And, it starts off with people are on the edge. People are angry and they want to, lash out at a system that they feel powerless in. And me and my wife were talking about this. Like, we completely understand the concept of looting. The concept of looting only exists when you have an extreme poverty level, when you have people that, under normal circumstances, can't get that 64-inch flat screen television, right? Cannot afford the latest fucking iPhone or whatever the coveted tech item is. They can't afford it. Because I'll tell you this, you don't see doctors or lawyers or the upper echelon of society going down and participating in looting. They don't go, oh shit, motherfucker, there's some free shit, let's go get it. No, because they've got a lot to lose. You know, they've got their professional reputation. They might have a career path that if they get a criminal record, they can't work anymore. Whatever the reasons, you just don't see rich people doing that shit. Because they don't need to. They pretty much can get whatever the fuck they want. And when you look at the vast number of people that fall into that poverty level, it makes sense, right? Shit, we had family members during the Rodney King riots. They had brand new babies, couldn't afford diapers. Then some rioting broke out, and people were like, hey, they're tearing up this one store, let's go get some diapers. And they went and they got shit they needed for their babies. They weren't necessarily grabbing TVs or anything else, because any of us who have kids understand diapers are fucking, that shit's expensive. Motherfuckers don't realize that diapers and formula and all that shit's expensive. But you have decades upon decades upon decades of people that are disenfranchised. They don't feel like they're part of the system. They feel like the system's constantly bending them over and fucking them in the ass, which it is. But it's always been with an agenda. You know, Malcolm X, the reason Malcolm got killed was he went from the whole rhetoric of kill whitey, which served that agenda of racial divide, and also cross lines with other religious groups, Christians, because he was Muslim. He said, let's not even do that. Let's not even talk about a religion. Let's not talk about race, but instead let's talk about the haves and the have-nots. The minute that he changed that rhetoric, the minute that he made that distinction of the haves and the have-nots, they're like, up, get his ass, kill that motherfucker. And we see that time and time again through a lot of different people. People like to point to, Martin Luther King. Some people would be surprised to understand that when Martin Luther King got killed, he started talking about the military-industrial complex. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Magic? He was talking about the military-industrial complex. He wasn't talking about, I have a dream, little black boys and little white girls. He wasn't talking about that. He wasn't talking about race. He was starting to talk about something else that they did not want him going off script and talking about. They didn't want him talking about military-industrial complex, which is also a major player in a lot of these discussions. So we got a corrupt government. We have people that think this is about race. It's not about race. The race is a tool. That's why I say America is racist, because it uses race as a tool to keep us all divided. Keeps us from really looking at the have and have-nots and coming up with realistic solutions to problems. Because the reality is, there's really elegant, simple solutions to all of these problems. And they're all very, very, very deep-rooted issues. Education system is stupid. It's created by fucking Rockefellers, and it's just not. It's not meant to really open our minds and create free thinkers, But let's get back to the topic here. So the races and these riots, even though there are great, really positive protests. I saw some beautiful ones where, people were coming together and they were just, they just want to make things better. And it can happen. It probably won't, but it can happen. And so you see these peaceful ones, and then you see these really, really magnificent, destructive pieces that you're just like, holy shit. And then you watch the news, the president went hiding. He was hiding in the bunker. That's the level of stupidity that exists. The minute that there is any kind of a threat against a political figure, doesn't matter if it's Pelosi, doesn't matter if it was Obama. Even Obama now, he still has a Secret Service that looks after him. But anytime there's a situation where one of the important people are in danger, they take preventive measures to make sure that that motherfucker is safe. If he happens to be in the White House and this shit starts to get hairy outside, yeah, they're going to take him down to a bunker. It's not him running away and hiding. He really doesn't have a lot of say in it. And so I look at these people like, the fucking president's such a fucking pussy. It's like, okay, whatever. And I don't like Trump. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. I can't stand the motherfucker. And I think he's actually, he's just as bad as any of the other presidents we've had before. And I know some people love him. Some people hate him. And that's like, I don't hate him. I think hate is a very strong word. And I reserve it for very specific people. But I don't hate Trump. I think he's serving a purpose. I think he's a puppet, just like most of the other presidents before him. But I do want to caution people. The things that we are facing are, and this is the fun part, because this is where, people that are atheists or whatever else are going to go, they're going to roll their fucking eyes and whatever. And I'm like, that's fine. I really don't give a shit, because in my research, and I have done substantial amount of research, and if you really want to trace the big bad guy that's behind all of this, start digging down BAAL. That is the entity you should be researching, because that shit predates a lot of shit. We're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of years. But anyway, understand that if martial law is declared, and I do believe that that is the goal at this particular point, if martial law is declared, that suspends the Constitution. So anything that has been around as an executive order that could not be rolled out because it was in direct violation of the Constitution, then could be enacted. And so anybody that's Christian, that believes in Christ, I happen to be one, has a lot to be afraid of, because there's a thing called the Noahide Law, which is a Jewish dogma, I guess that's the appropriate word. It's Jewish dogma that has very strict, very, very, very strict verbiage to it, such as penalty for violating any of the Noahide laws, spelled out on page 1192 of the Encyclopedia Judaica. Violations of one of the 7 laws subjects the Noahide to capital punishment by decapitation. If you believe in Jesus, that's directly in violation of their very first one. Idolatry is forbidden. Man is commanded to believe in one God alone and worship only Him. So, to worship Jesus as a Messiah is blasphemy according to the Talmud, and punishable by decapitation. Okay? And you might be like, so what? That's some Jewish shit, right? Why would that matter? Why would it matter? Well, U.S. Congress officially recognized Noahide laws in legislation that was passed by both houses, Congress, and the President of the U.S., George Bush, indicated in Public Law 102-14, 102nd Congress, Public Law designated March 26, 1991 as Education Day. This legislation makes provision for Christians and all other non-Jews in North America to be executed by beheading if they refuse to renounce their personal beliefs and come under Jewish belief system. For Christian, this means denying Jesus Christ or death under Noahide laws. Now, this is stuff that's there, but most non-religious people are like, who gives a fuck, right? It doesn't pertain to me. So if you look in Revelation and you look at the bullshit that everybody goes through during the bad parts, they talk about mark of the beast, all this other bullshit. But for me, as a person who loves the core concept of Jesus, and it's funny because I know the minute I say Jesus, people are like, "Oh, are you going to come and talk to me about Lord and Savior Jesus?" People are just, you ask yourself a question though. Why were churches so systematically targeted during this whole pandemic, right? You can go to Walmart, be around as many motherfuckers as you want to be, but going to church, nope. I mean, even the Jews, it was funny. There was a group of Jews that followed the rules. They were practicing their faith 6 feet away from each other, blah, blah, blah. And they got raided and everything else. And there was a lot of press that showed that. And I'm not going to engage in the whole conspiracy stuff about, who the bad guys are or anything else, other than to say BAAL. I'm not going to say the name. But I am going to point out that this does seem like a systematic, concerted effort against Christians. And the one thing that you have to remember, this is how I explained it to my son. My son was like, "Oh, Dad, you can tell me about Jesus." I'm like, "No, look, kid. I think we can all agree that human beings are basically morally bankrupt, and incapable of living up to ideals spec'd out in the Bible. Even the basic 10 Commandments. Not lying. Understand, in the Bible, the way it was worded, you told a single lie, guess what? You're going to hell. You're hellbound. So, the whole core concept of Jesus was, God realized we are fucked. We're flawed. Jesus comes and says, well, you know what? I'm going to give you guys a fucking loophole. Start looking it up, Sonny. You'll go down a nice rabbit hole. That particular entity is what all of the Dark Cabal, they worship the shit out of that sumbitch right there. Even to the point where they corrupt some of our religious prayers. That's why whenever I pray, I don't pray to God. Goes further back than that, Tenchi. I pray to the Heavenly Father. I give when I do my prayers, which are never ending, I don't ever end. I don't ever say, AMEN. I never end. Whenever I say my prayers, I pray out to the Heavenly Father. I let Him know. I talk, blah, blah, blah. But the shit that's happening now, this is scary shit, guys. Because originally, you're thinking, yo, what's up, Simacom? Oh, good. Again, why am I doing this? I'm doing probably 2 shows today, because my daughter just graduated, and so we have a graduation party that's happening tomorrow, and a lot of people are showing up, and I'm not going to be able to do a show tomorrow, so I'm doing them now. But I also feel a little better, and so I wanted to do this video last week. I just couldn't do it. It wasn't so much fucking pain. But there's a concerted effort. There's too much going on right now. The society itself is don't be in town after 3 p.m. Why? What's at 3 p.m.? Shit. Hope nothing bad happens. Well, if it does, love you guys. But you know, it's we got this cancel culture. We have this thing where, you know, they try to make pedophilia an okay thing. They try to say that all of the, you know, just love yourself and you are the most important thing, and you know, it doesn't matter about it, anything else. You know, you are the most perfect, blah blah blah. Oh, fun. Okay, yeah, I bet you're right. Yeah, this weekend's probably gonna be fucking shit. Holy hell. But understand, guys, there's coming a point. I noticed in certain areas that are gun heavy, people are like, fuck that, we're not taking this shit. Go ahead and come into town, motherfucker. Like, I love the one dude's like, I know, it's my fucking hair looks like shit right now. I just have it pulled up there right now. I don't give a fuck. And since I'm half Japanese, I can pull that off. And I'm half Irish. Oi! But, yeah, it's getting to the point where people are going to have to make a decision, regardless of any religious belief or anything else, based off the core concept of what's fucking right and what's fucking wrong. And I got to tell you guys, extracting religion completely out, just off of my own eyes as a human being looking around, the level of stupidity, the level of just self-worship, the average fucker just walking around, look at me, look at me, look at me. It just, and I know it's ironic because I have a fucking YouTube channel, so people are like, well, look at you, you're, yeah, but I'm like, I am sharing a view, and I give less than a fuck what you guys think about me. You know what I mean? I am one voice in the darkness that's saying, hey, what I see around me is complete bullshit. It is horrible. It is destroying our children, wrecking their fucking minds, and making the world almost... Like, I think I said the other day, I was like, man, I'm glad I'm old, because I would not want to be born right now and grow up in this shit. You know? And I got kids, and I worry about them, because I look at the shit that they think is important, and I look at the stuff that their ability to solve problems and to do things, and I'm scared. I'm worried about them. And I'm not your average fucking father. I'm not your average fucking father, man. You know, I try to tell my kids, hey, if this happens and blah, 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 this is where you stab a motherfucker and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, and then sometimes I catch myself say, fuck, am I doing a disservice to my children by having them grow up with this kind of a mindset? But then I go, oh, fuck. You're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Yeah, the world is turning cold. It is. You know, the world, you know. And the funny thing is, I think if they got rid of the mainstream media, just got rid of them. Just fuck you guys. You know, and I know some people, oh, you know, the media, they're just trying to sell views, and that's why they glorify, you know, the negativity, because if it bleeds, it sells and blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, fuck you. You know, yeah, fuck you. What about the cost of people's mental health? I mean, to be constantly barraged with negativity over and over and over and over, man, it has an effect, man. Yesterday, this is how stupid. This is how dumb the fucking world is right now. This is pandemic bullshit. They say, well, we canceled the graduation. We do a virtual graduation thing. Okay, fine. So I recorded 3 fucking hours yesterday of a slideshow, basically. And I was like, holy fuck. Then we got in the car and we did a parade. Okay, so we go down to school. My car's air conditioners broke, so I didn't realize it was as bad as it was. My daughter's been a little soldier, didn't tell me how bad it was. But it's 88 degrees in this fucking car. We're sitting around other cars that are idling because we're all thinking we're going to go do this little fucking parade. They had us sit for 2 fucking hours in 88 degree weather. Everybody's out of their cars, hugging, hanging out and whatnot. Cops everywhere, right? Nobody's wearing masks. Nobody's social distancing. None of this shit, right? You would have not even known there was a pandemic going on, other than the fact that we're all sitting in fucking cars, that everybody's decorating their cars with balloons and all this other stupid shit. And we do this fucking parade. And I'm looking at these kids' fucking faces, man. I'm looking at these fucking kids' faces, and it's breaking my fucking heart because this is their graduation. This was the culmination of the speaker said on the slideshow from kindergarten to now, the total cost for educating all of you was $67 million. This sumbitch actually had the dollar amount that it cost paying administrators and all this other shit of what it cost from them to get educated from kindergarten all the way through a senior year. And he's like, and that was an investment. And I'm just listening to this guy's speech, and I'm just shaking my head like, what a fucking circle jerk. What bullshit, You guys are going into this brave new world. I'm like, and I'm looking at these kids as I'm just, because, my daughter gets out, she goes, talks to her friends and whatnot. And I'm just in the car. I can just watch. I'm just watching people. I'm just looking at them. I looked at all the parents. I didn't see barely a smiling fucking parent there. Everybody, you'd see somebody you'd know, and you see the face go like this. Oh, hey, hey, okay, hey, right? And I'm looking at these kids, man, and a lot of them look shell-shocked. Like, they're all wearing their gowns in this heat and whatnot, and they're like, I could see it. Like, what's next, right? Even my daughter, she didn't want to go at first. She was like, I don't want to go. I said, honey, these are graduation. This is close as you're going to get to a fucking actual graduation thing. So why don't we just go ahead and go? You could see some of your friends, whatnot. She was like, okay. So we went, and but even her, she was like, why? Who cares, right? And I'm like, it's your fucking graduation. It's the first chapter. You're going to be done with this. Now you're going to go to college. You're going to finish college. You're going to go, start your businesses, whatever, right? But lately, we've been having these conversations like, okay, hey, what's up, Michael? We've been having these conversations of what's next? Like, what do we do? I mean, shit, my day job stuff. No, there was no, they canceled prom. They canceled all that shit. They canceled everything. The school assignments were a joke. They're all on Zoom and whatnot. And, some of the teachers were giving ridiculously difficult assignments, and others were like, fuck it, I don't care. I mean, you can see the depression level even in the teachers. But I see these kids, and they're just completely lost. They actually had crisis counselors on Zoom sessions for these kids to connect with, and blah blah. Now guess what? These are kids that are pretty much at the end of their stuff. Imagine the kids now that are in kindergarten that are told they can't play with the other kids because of social distancing. They have these little fucking zones. It's dumb. It's dumb, right? So they have all these stringent rules, but then, these protests pop off. Oh yeah. No, I'm gonna have to call you back. All these protests and stuff are popping off. Okay, well, yeah, let's go ahead and go. Now, make no mistake. I think if we take the whole incident and say it's legit, we'll just run with that assumption. Let's just say it is. Yeah, those cops, all 4 of them, deserve to go to jail, deserve to get ass raped, blah, 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 because it was wrong. Plain and simple. Regardless of, you know, if homeboy was ex-con, put a gun to a pregnant woman's belly, porn star, whatever. It doesn't matter. You know, you have somebody and they're subdued and they're on the ground. You put a knee in the small of their back. The guy wasn't going anywhere. And they had other officers off camera there that also holding them down. So, you know, he wasn't going nowhere. So that was pretty much on display to show the most nasty depiction of, you know, police brutality ever. It was ridiculous. It was like, holy shit. When I watched that video, I caught myself. I was really upset. I was really angry about it. And I watched it and I was like, wow, can't believe that shit happened. I'm listening to the guy talking to him, yelling at him. And the thing that hit me though was, okay, you got all these motherfuckers there, but nobody did shit. That really bothered me. You had a nurse that was there, supposedly. You had a guy that trained purportedly with the police, understood the thing. So obviously he's like, yeah, I'll take you guys on. You're like, then why didn't you bum rush the cop? If you believe so strongly in that, knock him off the guy. You might have saved his fucking life. But he didn't do shit. Sitting there commentating and fucking yelling. Look, I'm a handicapped motherfucker. I'll tell you what, if I saw that shit, I'd be in jail probably right now. I'd be in jail. Because there's no fucking way I'd let somebody be fucking murdered in front of me like that. Regardless of the situation. Yeah, that dude pulled his pepper spray. Shit, I'll take some pepper spray. I don't give a fuck. But nobody talks about those folks. You know, they didn't do anything. So, okay, so you didn't do anything. You knew the guy was dying. The guy that was saying, hey man, you're crushing his pipe. You're going to kill him. So the fact that he understood, why is he not an accomplice? Or not accomplice. What's that word? When you're complacent or when you're part of a crime because you could have stopped it but you didn't do anything to stop it. I forgot what that word is. But he obviously understood what was happening and he didn't do anything. What did they do? Pull out their fucking phones. Get some good fucking footage, right? That's the problem with the world today. That's the problem. That's the shit that's fucked up. You know? That's the shit that's wrong. You know, and I know my heart. I've gotten involved with police. I've gotten in trouble by telling motherfuckers, hey, don't do that shit. That's fucking wrong. Don't do that. You know? I've had it out with paramedics that weren't taking care of a homeless person right. But whatever. You know, whatever. Bottom line is, this world sucks. It sucks really fucking bad right now. And I had to say it. It's going to get worse. You know, this shit pops off this weekend. Because, guys, look. Tanks are already in place. Logistically, everything from martial law is already in position. And when you understand, I have a friend of mine, good friend of mine. He's like, I told him, yeah, you keep talking that shit, y'all against the police and everything else. Shit, I'm afraid when there's no police around. I'm afraid when the tanks and the army are walking around the street, not the National Guard, but the fucking army. He's like, oh no, that could never happen. I'm like, oh, we're talking the, what is that shit called? There's a federal law that says that the army cannot be walking around. But you've already heard you've already heard the president talking about the Insurrection Act. Well, if he fucking pulls the Insurrection Act, guess what? Military can roll around, and we got tanks. We got tanks out right now. Actual tanks. And I got a $15 bet with him. I said, all right, I got $15 says we will see the army. We will see them on the streets. We will see some motherfucking tanks. And he's like, no. Uh-huh. There you go. That's not accurate, though. To be able to talk, you just have to... That's not the ability to get a good breath in. You're you're squeezing out. You can't breathe. That's already been debunked. That's that has been proven plenty of times that that's not actually the case. The other problem is, let's just say, for example, he was able to breathe, but then he passed out. You still got pressure sitting on the trachea there. You know, your muscles are engaged because you're actively holding the man's weight there. You know, you pass out, you relax, well, suddenly it crushes in, right? So that can crush an airway as well. So it's bullshit. It's bullshit. They've already shown that that particular tactic is a very, very, very short tactic to get control of a person, not to hold them down. You don't sit there and fucking, hold the knee down on a motherfucker. But in any event, whether or not this is, the guy was already down. The guy was down. If we're taking this at face and saying this is what happened, bottom line is, and I love how they showed the one footage purportedly of the guy wearing Make America White Again. It wasn't even the same guy. It was a Photoshop thing. It's like, come on, man. It's so easy, because if somebody has a position, they have a position, and an image or an article or something else fits their agenda or their narrative or their ideology, man, they take that as gospel. Discernment and due diligence, shit. Your average motherfucker does not engage in that shit at all. And I like how some people are like, wow, this guy was a porn star and he was a criminal and blah blah blah. I'm like, I didn't give a fuck. Right is right and wrong is wrong. They had him subdued. They had him on the ground. You don't have to do anything else. He wasn't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Shit. You got a big motherfucker like that. He's still causing problems. Step back, hit his ass with a fucking taser, and re-engage that taser on a regular basis until whatever you're trying to do is available. It's dumb. It's dumb. And then, the footage, you got some of these folks that are like, oh, look, the trash can had 666 on it, and oh, there's the geometric numbers and blah blah blah. Again, if you're looking for conspiracy, you can find a conspiracy everywhere, right? So, I look at that stuff and I go, okay, it's interesting, but whatever. But I look at the actual ramifications of all of this, all of the ratcheting up. And it's funny because here's the double standard that if they come back and say, well, now the protests are done. Okay, now everybody has to social distance again. I would hope at that point motherfuckers would be like, yeah, eat a dick. Not happening. I go places now and they tell me, oh, you have to wear a mask. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not going to shop here. I just don't go in. I'm like, fuck it. I'm not going to, fuck you. If you're making me wear a mask, fuck you. I'll go find someplace else that's not requiring me to wear a fucking mask, and I will go fucking shop there because I don't want to wear a mask. Even my cool leather mask. I don't want to do it. All right, chance later. Let's see. What about the non-labeled people carrying guns dressed in black? Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Exactly. It's because there are these provocateurs that are going out. They're breaking shit. They're causing problems. And then the mob mentality kicks in. They're like, well, fuck. If they're doing it, fuck, I'm going to do it too. That's where the quote-unquote useful idiots come in. It doesn't take a lot. You already got a powder keg situation. You put a match to it, it blows up. They know this shit. That's why I'm looking at like, okay, if you're going to protest, then you guys need to police the shit. And the police, I remember my friend was all happy, like, look at the cops ran. I'm like, yeah, the cops ran because they understood they could have squashed the protesters. They could have pulled, fuck, if we went like the Philippines, shit, and the cops just start shooting your ass, like, you know what? You come and attack the police station, we can defend ourselves. You're trying to burn down the police station. That's murder. You're trying to kill people in the police station, right? We're in it, and you're trying to put it on fire. Guess what? That's attempted murder. You're trying to kill us. Okay. I'll tell you what. Somebody comes to my house, try to set my house on fire. I'm shooting them. I'm blowing their asses away. And I'll go to court and be like, I was afraid my life was at my family and everything else. I had to defend my home. I shot him. I'm not upset about it. I'd shoot the motherfucker again. right now, blow his ass away. So the cops could have, but they knew one of two things. Either they had an order, pull out, let them take the station. It's going to be good headlines. It's going to be great. Great promotion for the agenda. Or what I hope, like, look, if we kill more people, it's just going to escalate and then this whole city's going to burn. So let them have the fucking station. Everybody back out. Just ignore them. Stay calm. And hopefully this will pacify them. Hopefully this will be good. And I'm like, I'd like to think that's the case, right? The other thing too is, oh yeah, these cops, they need to be blah blah blah. Okay, well, there's a thing called due process, people. You don't want a mob mentality suddenly saying, oh, we don't like Rob Ricks, blah blah blah, and if we go burn enough shit, then the police can just go grab him, throw him in jail, and blah blah blah, right? There's a thing called due process. I think they should have been arrested immediately, because if any of us had engaged in anything that was potentially criminal, the first thing they do would be arrest us, investigate the crime, see if there's something to be done about it. If there is, then they put the charges and you go to court and you have the evidence and then you get a conviction or you don't. But, just because the mob mentality says, oh, we're going to keep destroying shit until our idea of justice is dished out, that's a bad precedent. That's a bad fucking precedent, because what it basically means is anything that we as a collective mob believe should be the thing, we could just act like fucking assholes and the world will have to bend to our thing. My thing is, well, fucking great. If you have that power, then why aren't you using that on any other given day when thousands of other black motherfuckers are dying, regardless of whatever the color of the person is? As long as there's violence in general, why aren't you protesting that? Why aren't you protesting water rights, food rights, blah 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 blah? Why aren't you protesting this fucking pandemic bullshit? Have them really fucking prove the shit. Why do we have Germany coming out and saying, oh, I guess we oopsie, we jumped the gun, we made a mistake? Well, why is Italy saying, oh yeah, all of these COVID-related deaths are people that died with COVID, not from COVID? Oh, why is this COVID testing not actually really a test? It's just to see a certain RNA strand and see if that's there. Could be there for any other reason. Oh yeah, that's present. So guess what? We now say that's COVID. It's bullshit. And all of this has all been orchestrated and planned and built upon to a specific agenda. There it is. There it is. Yep. People are being baited. They don't understand that they're being used by both sides. But the news media being attacked or blocked from reporting the news is my biggest concern. News media being attacked or blocked from reporting the news is my... Yeah, like I'm pretty sure, like even this video, I'm pretty sure at some point it's going to get flagged. It's going to get fucking flagged. I won't be surprised if it gets strike down and everything else. Just because. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm going to cut this video now. I'm going to come back on in a little bit later. So I'll continue some more conversations about some other stuff. I just didn't want to have some content not go out and have a whole nother week go by, because this shit, look how quick everything's unraveling, guys. But if you aren't religious and everything else, that's fine. But understand, one of the things that is said, and I firmly believe it, one of the best things the devil did was having people believe that he didn't exist. And the devil goes by many names, but the one I think you guys should be more fixated on and everything else is Baal. Go back and research. That goes down some really, really, really dark rabbit holes. All right, guys, that's it for now. I will see you guys in a little bit. Be safe. Keep your head on a fucking swivel, and know, at some point you're going to have to make a decision. What's right, what's fucking wrong, and you're going to have to make a stand. All right. See you guys shortly.